speaking about extended vehicle and basically the connection of the device to the backend. Here, I think it's clear that right now the industry is a bit undecided how it's going to be developed, who is going to take charge. So what's your shot? Who is going to drive this? Is it going to be OEMs, tier ones, telecom operators? So
yeah, I think the entire connected journey has a lot to do with latency and how the next generation of telecom will pick this up. Right, so the next generation of telecom will start bringing actually the latency speeds we need, less than 3 milliseconds. That's when things start getting interesting.
Yeah.
Right, and I think once that tipping point starts, then it's the question of who had the investment costs. Was it the telecom who had the investment costs, or is it the components who had the investment costs, or is it the guy who has the wheels investment costs, or is it some rental car company could have the investment costs, right? We don't know how this thing will pick up. So I think the question is, who picks up the bill for that next generation?
Or it might be Uber.
Or it might be Uber. Yeah. Though I think if you see the latest results of Uber, they're not too.
Well, yeah, but at the same time, I think a lot of things are happening already right now. Those are the things related to insurance part for the cars, including also to offshore, not offshore, sorry, for off-board diagnostics and predictive maintenance of cars. And I think these things actually rely less on the technology, but more on the whole setup, on being able to gather this huge amounts of data and being able to implement it on millions of vehicles. And I think here are some of the things which can be really huge in the next 5 years, maybe.
No, you raise a very important point, Michael. I think it's who owns this data, or who will own this data? Yes. Who has the rights to use this data, even if they own this data? And if there are advanced insights being generated from this data, who owns those insights? And I think this layering will start happening in data ownership. Once this data layering happens in data ownership, if you match that with how the investment costs are coming forward, I think that might answer your previous question. And that's why I liked what you said in the break, that your Luxoft's way of looking at the horizontals is UI, UX, and analytics, and you bring UI, UX, and analytics into under the hood, etc., etc. How do you actually see analytics happening under the hood?
Well, with under the hood, it's probably less of an impact for analytics. At the same time, gathering so much data from sensors would definitely provide us with great abilities to dig into this data and provide great results. For us, it's also interesting to see how our experience in other industries works. It's like what we do in airspace and what we see in airspace is basically current aircraft is a whole factory of data, right? Sending really gigabytes of data to the ground.
Every time it lands,
Yeah. So now and we know that current cars have more software in them than airplanes. And if we multiply this by a number of cars, we're really getting huge amounts of data. And that could affect actually road infrastructure analysis, that could affect vehicle usage analysis, all this kind of usage patterns and things you can drive from it, starting from insurance and ending with some personalized advertisement, personalized offers. So I think that it's definitely that digital cockpit is the most kind of obvious area where you can get benefits, especially if you go into semi-autonomous or autonomous driving. So then you need to be entertained, you need to receive offers while you are sitting in the car but not actually doing the controlling and not doing the driving. At the same time with UTH, it's really something which can happen in the way of optimizing the ways how the cars are built in the future and feeding this data to manufacturing departments, to engineering departments, may really change the way they design vehicles, I think.
I guess and I guess there's also use cases beyond that in the workshop, right?
Yeah.
What happens when a car comes for repair? What happens when what's a car's maintenance? How does the entire predictive maintenance play along with insurance?
Yes.
Right.
So if you get a signal that you need to take a car to the shop and you do it, then you get a discount. So then I think all of these things start playing together with the new usage patterns, like shared car ownership. Yeah. Because it's clear that, especially with a shared car ownership, you increase vehicle workload greatly. So it starts being like a taxi, because mostly your private car sits in the garage. So its usage pattern is quite different from the car, which is always on the road. It's just being driven by different drivers, and also drivers with different driving style.
Right.
So it, I think, really starts coming along into a single, quite complicated, but still very interesting digital picture, which can be analyzed.
True.